The most segregated hour of our week is on Sunday morning, and we aren't doing a single thing about it. We are not engaging this culture of racism and of white supremacy and white privilege. I'm an indirect descendant of Robert E. Lee, and I am dealing with the implications of his actions because of his choices. I just had a poster of Robert E. Lee in my room. It looked something like this. Just of the statue. I thought it was cool growing up. I mean, everybody does. Everybody's proud of their family growing up. He fought in so many different ways for our country, and yet he betrayed our country. He owned people. And that's hard. It's hard to live with, even now. I think Charlottesville was a defining point for my family because that was a moment in which an ancestor of mine was used as an idol of white supremacy.
A white nationalist blogger had called upon his followers and supporters to meet here in Charlottesville to protest the city's efforts to try to take down a statue of Robert E. Lee from a city park.
They converged on the park today, waving Confederate flags and chanting Nazi-era slogans.
Like, I had to respond and say, I'm going to engage this racism in our country. Not only because I'm a pastor, not only because of my lineage, but because I'm a human being who loves other people. This is a moment that is hard to deal with for our country, and yet I have the opportunity to speak up about it. And so I thought that that was one of the most pivotal moments of my lifetime on August 27th of 2017.
My name is Robert Lee IV. I'm a descendant of Robert E. Lee. Today, I call on all of us with privilege and power to answer God's call to confront racism and white supremacy head on.
I knew in that moment that this was going to be a movement and a mission for the rest of my life. I didn't know what it would cost, ultimately. Well, there was a small faction of the church that had a loud enough voice that was saying that I should not be speaking up about these issues. I just felt that with a vote coming on my tenure there, I could no longer simply sit by and allow that to happen. So instead, I chose to resign. I think we try to be as normal as possible with this, but it's hard. We're traveling everywhere. I mean, like, Stephanie and I are going to California this weekend for a racial reconciliation event. And so it's just hard to balance the realities of that with just trying to be newlyweds. We never expected to be doing this in our first few months of marriage. Same. But it's the life that we've been given, and we have to live it. Here's the Confederate monument. I think I question this role a lot, not in the sense of should I do it, but should it be me? And the question is, will I fade back into obscurity as time goes on, or will this become a moment and more than just a moment? And that's what we're trying to figure out. A lot of them came up in the 20s, 30s, and 40s during the Jim Crow era as an act of white suppressionism against black people. So when it's put in context like that, it's obvious to me what needs to be done. They need to come down. I mean, I'm just tired of the fact that people think this is controversial. It's not controversial. It's simple. There's a right and there's a wrong side, and we have a choice of where we're going to sit. It's not just about monuments. It's never just been about monuments. It's all about statutes. It's about laws that are in place. It's about how we treat people on the street. It's about the jokes that are made at the workplace. Part of changing is a willingness to engage in your own privilege and your own racism and say that, yeah, it's me too.